So I think, let me see. Yes, everyone's back. Awesome. Wonderful. So welcome back, everyone. And let me stop sharing. So we have everyone's faces. And breakout room number 1, we had Caroline, Marco, Martin, Rob Settina, Samantha, Sam, and Soph. So have you decided on who was the volunteer to provide a bit of a summary of key highlights or key discussion points from your breakout room? Anyone, or who would like to kick off at least? Don't speak all at once. Marco, thank you.
Yeah, I guess I'll go. I mean, we kind of had the benefit of having Caroline in our breakout room, so it kind of turned into a bit more of a Q&A, which was cool.
Lucky you.
Yeah, exactly. So of course we all agreed with everything that she said. But yeah, I mean, we had a really interesting conversation across a whole bunch of different topics, some stuff to do with purpose, some stuff to do with Caroline swimming in the Yarra. So it was a mix. We kind of, well, I mean, I'll start where we finished, which was talking about the giving mindset and how important that is as part of finding your purpose. So that was a kind of interesting question as well. Some of the other things that Caroline mentioned were kind of storytelling is kind of a really important part of finding your purpose. One of the great tips as well that we got was basically breaking things down into 90-day windows. So give yourself 90 days to do a project or to find a purpose. So you've kind of got an end in sight, and then at the end of those 90 days, you can kind of reassess and decide whether it's something that you want to continue on with or something that you kind of maybe need to refresh or approach a different way. So I think that's kind of something that hopefully everyone can learn from. What else did we cover? Sorry, I'm just having a quick look through the Miro board. We discussed burnout, which is obviously one of the mindful CIO topics that we've discussed before. And Caroline's suggestion for that was to kind of really push yourself outside of your comfort zone, the kind of way to kind of break the circuit, refresh yourself, and hopefully get through some of those burnout issues. So another great tip. I think that kind of covers the gist of it. I'm not sure. We covered a whole bunch of really cool stuff, so I'm sure there's some things that I've missed. I don't know if anyone else in the group wants to jump in or if they're comfortable with what I...
Thanks, Marco. From the top of your head, you did great. Martin, Rob, Sam, and Soph, I'll just give you the chance to jump in if you like to add your 2 cents, something that came to mind as you're listening to Marco. Anyone?
I think Marco did a great job. Thanks, Marco.
Soph had great questions as well, so it's definitely helped the discussion.
Okay. Are you sure? Anyone? Nothing to add? Okay, so you can always jump in later. So let's move on to room number 2 then. We had Ellis, Guy, Lisa, Ram, Rima, and Rob Stewart. So who would like to make a start for room number 2? We didn't have Caroline. So which direction the conversation went? I'm curious.
We should have nominated someone, shouldn't we? Are we allowed to posthumously nominate Lisa? Is that permitted?
Totally.
Or she might not accept that.
No, well, no, I was distracted. My son just walked in. So what we talked about, Guy was talking about his story about how he had, followed his purpose into the envirotechnology. Guy, is that the right description? Yeah. And how now he's looking to do something else, but he wants to sort of be connected to that. But he's sort of figuring out what he wants to do around that space. So we sort of talked about how that. What were your words? It messed you up for a bit.
Well, it was basically my purpose was all about earning money and climbing the corporate ladder and then I found this purpose in the environment,
Yeah.
and it screwed me up a bit. Basically,
Yeah.
what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And so, what happens when that purpose becomes blurred from what you've always done to a higher purpose, which is what Rema was talking about?
Yeah.
Career purpose versus your
Yeah.
higher purpose, and that was what that was about. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah. And Rob, we talked about how your purpose changed. Basically, you were doing
Yeah.
lots and lots of traveling and all those sorts of things. And then you knew that you needed to change because your purpose was about being with your family.
Yeah, no, I said purpose in my life has changed in the last couple of years. It's now, I suppose, it's all about family and making sure that they're well equipped and they can grow up to be, I've got two young 6-month-old girls, so that's my purpose at the moment, is making sure that they're okay. So that's we all in our group, we all went round and talked about our purpose, and was really insightful to hear. It's great to share with everyone.
Yeah. What else did we talk about, group?
There was only the other comment that I think was the fact that because everyone in this group is so multifaceted. How do you weed out the noise when you're looking for purpose? And Carolyn, I'm definitely going to be reading your book, which is about hopefully it'll help with that. And Ram, you made some good points about how you weed out the noise behind to help you find that.
I think you asked some really good questions, Guy, as well in the conversation, and to the point Rob made just now, having that clarity of purpose, however small or big that purpose might be, it's the most important thing, center of mind. So Rob just said looking after his two girls and making sure they're okay is the core of his purpose right now. And for me, in our conversation, it was around thinking of myself as a problem solver in the work context, but also at a personal level. It's about finding ways to be content every day, and so having that clarity of purpose then allows us to weed out anything that's not relevant. I think we'll do it automatically because your purpose will intervene and say, why you're doing that, it's not necessary or not relevant. I think whilst I'm speaking, maybe one other thing was we did discuss, I think one of the themes was that purpose changes and evolves over time. Circumstances, our position in life at a given point in time, and external factors will mean our purpose will change and evolve, and that is perfectly fine. And allowing that, embracing that, and allowing that to happen is, I think, the first step in being able to harness the power of having that clarity of purpose. I think to Rima's contribution as well, I think she elevated the conversation to a whole other level of enlightenment, if you will. She brought up the concept of, it's a Sanskrit phrase of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which translates to the world is one family. So it elevated our thinking to more than just thinking about purpose from a professional perspective, to further about that, a personal purpose. Ikigai, as Carolyn mentioned, or on French, the raison d'etre. So, but beyond that, to think about what can I do, the little thing that I can do today to maybe contribute positively to the world, which gives me happiness. Kind of that concept. Rima, thank you very much. You personally, you made my day.
Love the level of conversations. I mean, all levels are relevant, of course, but taking to that the next level. And Caroline, I'm curious because I know a couple of you are in transition. Some of you were just in transition before, and I just started a new role recently. And I believe, Caroline, I don't know if curious to hear your thoughts on that. If often, adversity or, those moments, because many of us actually have a strong identity in relation to the work that we do. Many of us like I am, we even use I am, the role that we related to work. I know Ellie's former CIO of Toyota now, after doing some soul searching, changing, becoming an independent advisor, Guy in transition, Ram just started with Asahi, so many people, reevaluating. Rob as well. I know that, after a bit of a sabbatical, made a change. So, Caroline, do you see this as a bit of a pattern? People during transition having that opportunity to, to do that soul searching and look into the purpose? Is that quite often?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that seems to be when people are leaving their work. I think COVID exacerbated the search for purpose in so many people that, am I really going to be doing this for the rest of my life? I want to do something different. So yes, definitely in transition and in life stages, like, Rob shared that he's got 2 young babies, and yeah, when they grow up and leave home, you'll probably be looking for a new purpose. Like life stages definitely will influence looking for purpose. And I just wanted to make a comment about how do you sift yourself through all the noise. The answer is nature. It is always nature, like being immersed in nature. If you've got a lot of questions, don't ask them at your desk in front of your computer. I talked about in our group pattern interrupt, and pattern interrupt is taking yourself out of the comfort zone. So I talked about the fact that I swim in the river. When I started swimming in the river, all of these things just seemed to come along, opportunities, circumstances, and things like that. So the first thing is to do something radically different outside of your comfort zone. I'm not suggesting it has to be dangerous and jump off a cliff or do anything crazy like that. So pattern interrupt is one thing, and then making it a practice, as I've already talked about. But nature is our greatest teacher. Like and I do this thing called a sit spot. So I have a swim spot and a sit spot. And I first learned about it in a book called Rewilding the Urban Soul by Claire Dunn. And I go every day, and it hasn't been so good lately, but I try to go most days and sit for 30 minutes in the same spot in nature. And it just allows you to notice the patterns and the changes and those things. So I feel like nature has all the answers very often, and a disconnection from nature means that we do get off track. So yeah, I would encourage pattern interrupt and immersing yourself in nature.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Caroline. So I think before we wrap up for today, I'd love to hear what is the one thing? So you dedicated 90 minutes of your life, which is very, very precious. So you spent 90 minutes with us here, and hopefully you got something taking something away with you. So I will ask for someone to volunteer, and I will just go around clockwise on my screen. So who would like to make a start? Something that you took away from our conversation this evening? Just one thing.
I'll jump in. I think I wasn't in the room with Carolyn, but what Marco said earlier around 90 days before, I'm not sure what your terminology was, but I think that is really good to find purpose in those 90 days to make sure that you can achieve something in 90 days. That's a really good lesson for me to take out.
Super. Thanks, Rob. Guy, you're next on my screen.
I think, I'm definitely going to read your book, Carolyn. And I think just that sense that we're all going through this together, like everyone here is looking for it. And I think that is a really strengthening realization. Sometimes you can, particularly during COVID, you could feel isolated, but the fact that we're all going through it together, that's a takeaway I got out of it as well. So,
thanks, Guy. Ram.
I think the concept that purpose changes and evolves over time, and being comfortable with that and accepting that, I think is one of the key takeaways for me. And being aware that, and once again, I have to say thanks to Rima. She put it in more eloquent words than I possibly can. Thinking that I am but a very small, tiny part of this much larger ecosystem around me, and therefore my purpose can never be just unto myself. It has to be broader than that.
Thanks from humbly. Alice, if I'm pronouncing them correctly, Alice.
Yeah, you have. Thanks, Natalie. I think for me, actually, one of the most interesting things is just the pleasure of seeing how many thoughtful young IT people we have in the community that are exploring these things and are thinking about others. I think it bodes very well for the future of IT leadership. So I'm really pleased to see that, apart from everything else I've learned.
Thank you. Thanks, Alice. Michael.
Thanks, Nat. Luckily, I had 3 because Rob stole the first one that I had on my list. But one of the things which I also mentioned to Caroline in our breakout session, and I think is a really important point, was you can find purpose in parallel to work. It's not like, you know, one is they're mutually, it's not like, you know, you can only do one thing. You can do both, because I think personally the tendency would be you go to work and then you kind of think, oh, I'm just going to do nothing. So yeah, I think that's what I'll take away from today.
Thanks, Michael. Lisa.
So for me, it's making the time every day to connect and think about my purpose. Making time every day.
Thanks, Lisa. Sam.
For me, it's probably just getting out of your head a little bit more, and as Caroline said, get back to nature and sort of relook at what your purpose was or visit that again.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rima.
Thanks, Nat. So as always, my favorite part was connecting with everyone. And my second one was this concept of pattern interruption. I think it's a great hack for various different things in life, not just purpose. Thanks for that.
Brilliant. Thank you. Martin, we cannot see you, but hopefully you're still with us. Yes.
Sorry,
cool.
yes.
That's
For me,
okay.
it was, I think, a giving mindset, as Caroline mentioned. And I think when you have a giving mindset and you're giving, you also probably find your purpose, because you're giving what you like to give. So that probably helps focus on your purpose as well. So giving mindset. Yeah.
Super. Thanks, Martin. Soph.
Yeah, I've got a few things. New project, new idea, 90 days, connecting them all together. I was like, yeah, that's what I need to do. So yeah, so I think, you know, the new project, new idea, new project, 90 days is what I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. I can do
Give
that.
it a crack. Thanks, Soph. Rob.
So I guess confirmation of one of my purposes, which is to make things better, to allow people to spend more time doing things that they want rather than things that they have to do.
Excellent. Thanks, Rob. I think that was everyone except Caroline. So generous of you still staying with us. Would like say some final words, Caroline? Maybe your takeaway from today, perhaps.
Found on the web.
Look, I just love.
If someone could mute. Thank you.
I just love sharing with everyone. I think my final words are be curious, not serious.
Love it.
Just have some fun with it. And,
yeah,
you know, life is short. So let's just have fun and be curious.
Wonderful. With those wide words, simple but profound words, we will close. I'm conscious that we're just in time, just about to finish. Real quick, we started, I think, this trend last month. So the plan is to share one article related to mindful leadership every roundtable. So you receive that with the pack probably on Friday. So feel free to have a look if you can relate to the message. This is a HBR one about how mindfulness can help you to become a better leader. Feel free to share, tag us to help to raise visibility on the mindful CIO community and hopefully invite more people to join our discussions. If you could take 2 minutes to complete the survey, that would be wonderful. Only 5 questions, super easy and quick. Really appreciate. Otherwise, I'll be harassing you tomorrow or Friday, asking for some feedback. And that's all for today. So thank you for your precious time. Really appreciate especially to the new members. Thanks so much for your contribution, your openness, and enjoy the rest of your evening. And hopefully, I'll see you next month.
Thanks, Nat. Thanks.
Thank
Nat.
you.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much. Bye-bye.
You all.
Caroline.
Bye.
Bye.